Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And we know, I've been thinking about it a lot. It is a crazy world. Sometimes, I just think maybe I need to stop doing this because it's so depressing sometimes. But anyway, then there's also always something happens. I get a nice comment or, I don't know, somebody makes me realize the reason why I do this, which is to bring to people's attention things that are going on, try and present both sides of things, try and work, try and understand people's motives for doing things, etc. Try and make a difference one way or another, even if it's just with prayer or awareness. So anyway, it's got a very long story short, but I'll be talking about it in the members tomorrow. That has happened over the past couple of days. A few things have happened. And yeah, every time I'm on the brink of thinking, I'm not going to do this anymore, something happens that makes me think, I'm glad that I do this. Anyway, what we're going to talk about in this video is we're going to talk about Desi Freeman. Of course, this is a massive case in Australia, of course, where it's happening. But also, I think it's created a lot of attention all over the world. Desi Freeman, which is what he changed his name to, isn't it? He's sort of anti-state or anti-police anyway. A lot of people have come out in support of him, and that's fair enough. I'm not here to tell people what to think. But, as long as they say it respectfully, what I have noticed, a lot of people speaking up for Desi, they seem to have to do it in a disrespectful way to me. I have an opinion just like Desi has an opinion. Whether I agree with Desi or don't agree with Desi, that's my right, isn't it, as a sovereign citizen, to think freely and speak freely. Just as he's entitled to do it and you're all entitled to do it, I'm entitled to do it as well. So, most people, a lot of people who seem, bleat on about free speech, it only seems to matter. Free speech only seems to matter as long as you agree with what they're saying. I don't care what people say on my channel. They can be sort of supportive of Desi or not supportive. All they can't be is disrespectful. Full stop. Either to me or any of the other chatters. Don't be disrespectful. Have your opinions. Give your opinions. Give your reasons for your opinions. That's what free speech is about. Not saying, oh, yeah, you're an idiot because you believe this or you believe that. Nobody's an idiot. Everybody has their views. And everyone's entitled to their views, but they have to respect other people's views as well. Isn't that the whole point of being a sovereign citizen and believing in free speech? Anyway, so Desi Freeman. Now, what we're going to talk about in this video. So, of course, Desi is on the run. He has the thing that we should not forget about Desi is he has murdered 2 policemen. Whatever you think of the police or you don't think of the police, some police, we're going to show some police. So one of the reasons why Desi doesn't like the police, I'm going to show you a video, sort of an anti-police video, if you like, that obviously affected Desi's way of thinking. And some policemen are twonks. There's no doubt about it. But a lot of policemen aren't, so it's like some sovereign citizens will be twonks and some won't be. You can't generalize everybody. Say all police are this or all, whoever are that. You can't do that. You have to take people at face value. When you meet someone, you make your decisions. You don't just think, oh, well, they're a policeman, so they must be a twat. Or, oh, they're a Muslim, so they must be a twat. Or they're a Christian, so they must be a twat. You can't do that. Everybody's different. Everyone's individual. That's my belief. And that is the one thing that you do have to do on my channel. Express your view if you like, but be respectful. And if you're not, then I will ban you, because free speech is not being disrespectful. Free speech is giving your view in a measured way and disagreeing politely with somebody, not calling them an idiot or saying they're this, that, or the other because they've got a different view to you. So we're going to talk about, as I say, there's some new photos that have emerged that apparently have come from Desi's son's phone on the day of the incident when the two policemen were murdered. So don't forget, he's murdered two policemen. Also, the reason those policemen were there, they had an arrest warrant against an SA offence, a historic SA offence. So it's possible that Desi has done something wrong in that respect. So we have to bear all this in mind. This is all the information that we have. Before we call him a hero, he is a murderer, and he has, they were there with a warrant for his arrest for historic SA offences. So you've got to think about that. Now, that doesn't mean say he's guilty of those offences. What I'm saying is bear it all in mind, and maybe will we ever find out the whole truth? I don't know. I mean, obviously he did the wrong thing killing the policeman. He's put $1 million reward for information. He's got $1 million bounty on his head, really. So if he is still alive, it doesn't look good for him, does it? To kill police. And of course, his family, I feel for his family as much as anyone, as well as obviously the family of the policemen that are dead. I feel for Desi's family because they'll be tarred with this brush. They've come out and said they're not anti-state, they're not anti-police, etc. It's a right mess, the whole thing, isn't it? So we'll be looking, though, at a video of, as I say, what we'll be looking at some footage that's been released from the incident where they attempted to arrest Desi, and that's where, what led to the murder of the two policemen and Desi going on the run. But also we'll be looking at a video of what a couple of Australian policemen did. One of the reasons why Desi hates the police so much, he got really angry over this incident. And I've seen incidents with the police, not only in Australia, but all over the world, where they've been heavy-handed, they've done the wrong thing, and those are wrong. Those police men and women that do bad things, they should be weeded out, got rid of, given prison sentences. Nobody's sticking up for those kind of police. Nobody. But all I'm saying is not all the police are the same. Not all the police are bad. And I still think at the end of the day, the police are there for a reason. Policing by consent. You need the police because otherwise, people just ride rampant doing all sorts of things. Could you imagine there not being a state? You can hate the state. You can criticize the state. You should always be vigilant against the state and not let it get away with everything. But there has to be a state for us to live. Otherwise, you've got this Wild West scenario. What's the alternative? What are you going to do? Anarchy? You wouldn't want to live in anarchy. You'll have people coming to your house and taking things because it's their right as a sovereign citizen. Come on. You need a state, and you need law and order. And you just what you have to do is be vigilant about the how good they are. So that's what the two things that we're going to be looking at, the new footage that's emerged, and also the video that Desi got very irate about a few months ago. And I don't blame me for getting irate. You'll probably get irate. I got irate when I watched it. Some policemen are complete twonks, but not all of them. Anyway, so first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who watches my channel. Thank you to those of you who like or subscribe. That's very important. And that, of course, is a free way you can support my channel. If you enjoy watching my channel, be it, don't forget I've got two channels. I've got this channel and the Spanish channel. If you want to support, if you enjoy watching my videos, watching the lives, watching the videos that I bring out, then please like and subscribe. Those are the free ways you can help my channel. You could go a little bit further and become a member. A lot of people do. It's members lives every Thursday. We've got a lot to talk about tomorrow in the members live. We talk about serious things, but we have a little bit more light-hearted fun as well. in the members' lives. So why not think of becoming a member? I want to say thank you to everybody who buys me a Ko-fi or sends super stickers, supports my channel in any way like that, PayPals me, or sends nice emails, leaves nice comments. Any way you support my channel positively, thank you. I appreciate it so much. So let's take that banner off, and then I'm going to say hello. So hi to you lovely lurkers. They're the people who like to watch but not comment. Hello. Hello to loathsome lurkers. These are people who don't like me really, but they still, for some reason, want to watch. But they don't get a kiss. Hi to the replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. And now I'm going to go into the chat and say hello to those of you who are brave enough to come into the chat. And remember, there's very few rules in my chat. Be respectful. Don't mention other content creators by name. And always, the respectful is the most important thing. Respectful to the victims, especially of whatever case that I'm talking about. Respectful to me, of course. Because at the end of the day, it is my YouTube channel. And respectful to each other, to the other chatters. If you don't agree with what someone says, that's fine. Just scroll past it or just say, well, I don't agree. You don't go, oh, you're an idiot for thinking that. We don't do that on my channel. And we're never disrespectful to the victims or the victim's family. So that bearing in mind, I'm going to come into the chat and just say hello to everybody who's there. Oh dear, we got one. They walk amongst us, you know. Hi, Annie. Hi, Gorbachev. I don't never do clickbait. My channel is never clickbait. So get that straight in your head. And if you don't like my channel, adios. But clickbait, never on my channel. Hi, Lily. Hi, Bluebell. Hi, Heather. Heather, how's your nudges this morning? How are your nudges? Is somebody getting on them? Yeah. Calling someone an idiot is not free speech, Gorbachev, you idiot. Oh, are you an idiot? No. Listen, we don't call each other idiots. I'm going to put you in timeout, I think, and then you can think about it. And if you still want to be calling me or anybody else an idiot, then the best thing to do is, you know, just move on. Move on. Go and watch something else. You know, you're not legally obliged to watch my channel. You do you understand that? Or maybe you're too much of an idiot to understand that. Don't have to watch my channel. Don't have to. Go and watch another channel. Watch whatever channel you like. Hi, Annie. Yes. Oh, thank you, Annie. You had an awful day. I'm sorry to hear you had an awful day. I think there's something in the air at the moment. I think a few of us had awful days yesterday. But yeah, at least we can come on and chat about it, and then we can get angry with the trolley dollies instead. Let's take it out on them. I know. Stupid name as well. Gorbachev's. What was it? Gorbachev something. I've forgotten it already. That's how ridiculous it was. Yeah. Gorbachev. Yeah, he was a good politician, Gorbachev. Heather's really and Nadia's are really going. Well, you know, I don't agree, Matt. I appreciate what you think, but if you think you don't need the police, what would you do if someone turns up at your door one day and they're attacking you or your family? So what would you do? What would you do? Of course you need the police. Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing, Matt, and maybe we'll look into it one day. I personally cannot see how a society can work without some sort of police force. I mean, it needs to be regulated. You know, maybe it's not regulated enough. But if you look at America, when the Pilgrim Fathers went over to America and it was the Wild West, literally, well, they soon brought in sheriffs and things like that, didn't they? Because unfortunately, not everybody plays by the rules. You and I, maybe you're a person that wouldn't harm anybody deliberately or steal something from someone, but there'll be other people out there, they'd come into your house and steal your things or do something to your children, or not everybody is naturally law abiding. I mean, that's a perfect world, and of course it'd be great, wouldn't it, if we could police ourselves. But it just doesn't. You do need the police. I'm sorry. You need the police, but what you've got to do is make the police accountable. And the police shouldn't be free to do whatever they want. I don't agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that in any way, shape or form. And anytime the police, like we're going to see a video about one of the reasons that Desi hated the police so much. And I agree with him on that. I've seen quite a few videos where the police have overstepped the mark, done the wrong thing. I'm not here to defend the police, but I also know that there's a lot of good police out there who do try hard to sort of keep the peace, etc. So I don't know. That's my opinion anyway. But yeah, we've all got our opinions. Hi, Lily. Hi, David. Oh. Sorry, I'm going down the chat now. Just want to miss anyone. Yes, and then there's the government. The whole thing is, if you're anti-government, anti-state, don't accept the benefits, you drop off the grid. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't like people telling me what to do either. Don't like but I live in Spain, in Europe. There's a lot of police here. I mean, every time you step out the door, you see police everywhere. But it just feel a lot safer. And Matt, I don't know, whether you are a man or a woman, because although your name on here is Matt, means nothing, does it? But, as a woman, you feel especially vulnerable when you go out. You need the police. You think you don't need the police to protect you. You do, unfortunately. You can't even see that this thing that happened to Irina in America. It shows clearly you can't even get on a train with a load of people and feel safe. So please don't say you don't need the police, because if there would have been a security guard on that train or some sort of monitoring, maybe Irina would still be with us today. So I don't exactly. If you're law abiding, the police won't bother you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, anyway. It's an interesting debate. I'm quite happy to debate it. I see it's part of the attraction. The state can be used in a bad way as well, of course. But don't you think that's like this yin and yang is typical of everything? If you brought in like an anarchic state with no police, there would be good things about it, but there'd be bad things as well. And to me, I've watched The Walking Dead. You can see some people will be respectful and other people won't be. You can't account for the way people will act. So when one person's being a complete twonk, somebody else is being reasonable, that's when people ring the police, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't matter how often it fails, we'll still need it. Because the thing is as well, we only get to hear about when it fails. So a lot of the time, the justice system is functioning day in, day out. And then when it goes wrong, and it does go wrong sometimes, then it's all over the news, etc. and everything. But, these are times that happen, and maybe they happen too often. But day in, day out, the justice system is functioning as well. I tell you, if something happened to a member of your family, which God forbid that ever does, you'd want justice for your family, wouldn't you? Or would you go out and take justice into your own hands? And what would that lead to? So anyway. So we're going to get on with it now. And yeah, exactly, David. Good police and god-awful police. Of course they are. And the police is, because of the nature of it, it can attract the wrong person sometimes. There's a fine line, isn't there, between, which side of the law people go on. Sometimes people join the police, but they're still on the wrong side of the law, if you like. They like the power it gives them. and other people join the police because they really want to help. And if you don't, I'm sorry, if you don't see that, I don't understand how you can't see that. Lots of good police out there as well as bad. So let's get on with it now. So what I want to talk about now is, where will I start? Oh, let's start with this new footage. So it's only photos that have emerged of some video screenshots which reveal the moments before. Might have got the video somewhere. Hang on. Here it is. No, that's not it. Here it is. So only some photos that have been released. Now, I think more will come out personally, but when, I don't know. But let's see what we've got. So let's have a look at this news item.
Images taken just moments before a deadly confrontation between police and... For the first time tonight, we can show you the haunting images taken just moments before a deadly confrontation between police and wanted fugitive Desi Freeman. The pictures are shedding new light on how the tragedy unfolded as the parents of one of the slain officers made a powerful journey to Pawnpukka.
From the far side of the world to a town they'd never heard of. Carolina Devar and Alay Ottar touched down in Pawnpukka, parents on a heartbreaking pilgrimage.
And the purpose of that was to really share with them the effort that's going into locating this wanted fugitive, Desmond Freeman.
16 days ago, they were at home in Belgium when the phone rang and their world collapsed. Their son, Vadim, had been killed, along with Neil Thompson, in a confrontation with Desi Freeman. Today, they came to thank the officers hunting for the killer.
I can say it was very emotional.
Now, images taken in the moments before that fatal shooting have shed new light on how it happened. 10 officers came wearing bulletproof vests, some in plain clothes. They had a warrant for Desi Freeman, who'd locked himself inside his caravan home. The video was taken by Desi's teenage son.
We've got a search warrant right here. Come out and have a look at it. Come out and talk to us, Des. We're not going away.
The suspect's wife pleaded with police not to come in.
Can you please not barge in?
We have a search warrant.
I have a kid, please.
Leave us alone. Leave us alone.
The back and forth went on for more than 20 minutes.
We're just trying to do our job, Des. Come out and talk to us and we won't have to break in. What's the search warrant for?
The warrant was over an alleged sexual assault of a young girl.
Did you join the police force to be Nazi thugs? You're just going to kill me. We're not going to kill you.
Eventually, police used a crowbar to pry open the caravan door and enter the bus. This is the moment they went in. On Saturday, police issued $1 million award for the capture of Desi Freeman.
So, yeah, let's not forget, again, the reason that they were there to arrest him. They had the search warrant because of SA accusations against a minor. You know, they weren't there to arrest him for possession of marijuana or shoplifting charges. You know, they were there, they had this warrant. So, you know, is he guilty of that SA charge? You know, we don't know because he's now run off. But, you know, guilty people don't act like that, do they? If you're not guilty, like a couple of people have said in the chat there, if you don't do anything wrong, you know, again, you need laws in society. You need laws, you need norms. You think society could exist without norms and laws? Of course you need laws. They need a law that says you're not allowed to abuse children. Do you think if there was no laws against abusing children that people would just not abuse children because of it? It's bad enough with the laws, but at least there's some remedy that can be taken against it. I literally do not get this, how people think that you could live in a lawless society Look at how it was in America before sheriffs and things. And I know it's not perfect now. Nobody's saying it's perfect. Nobody is saying it's perfect. But what I am saying anyway, and I think what most of the people in the chat saying, you need, if you're law abiding, if you don't do any of the things you're not supposed to do, then you're not going to get bothered by the police, are you?
Since then,
We've had nearly 200 pieces of information provided to Victoria Police.
so far, none giving the victims' families the answers they need. Sarah Jones, 7 News.
No. Right, I'm going to take that. I've got to put that window down because I've got quite a lot of windows open, as you can imagine. If I take the windows down as I show them. Right. Oh, there was something. Right, okay. So what I want to show you now is this video. This is the video that supposedly is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons that Desi hates the police. So he hates the police. I think we can, safely assume that. But apparently there was an incident not that long ago in Australia, and Desi was really upset by it, which anybody would be, to be fair. So I'm trying to, show the two sides to it. I can see why he would have been annoyed with this. So let's have a look. So this is a disturbing video that sent the alleged cop killer over the edge before 2 officers were killed. So just weeks before 2 officers were gunned down, fugitive Desi Freeman erupted online over a disturbing police assault case and warning disturbing content. And it is disturbing content. And, I can see why anyone would get angry about this. And these people, these policemen that you see here, these are the policemen that give police a bad name. They're just, but these are 2 people, and it created a furore, and it should have created a furore. I've seen other videos that have created furores. I think that was Australia, wasn't it? That guy that tasered that old lady that was wandering around the old people's home. I think that was Australia. That was disgusting. You tasering an old lady, and she died later. Because she had that dementia and she did have a knife in her hand. But this guy completely overreacted. He could have easily disarmed her. She was just a frail old lady on a Zimmer frame, for fuck's sake. So that was over-the-top policing. And I know over-the-top policing happens. But anyway, this was an incident a few weeks ago. On August the 9th, 2 rogue Sydney officers were sentenced for savagely assaulting a vulnerable woman. And Mr. Freeman reportedly posted a furious tirade on his secret Facebook account. And he said this is what he said: gutless, worthless, pig vomit, went to prison for this cowardly attack that shows what cops are really like. Now, I don't agree that it shows what cops are really like. It shows what these 2 twonks are really like, these 2 police officers. Not all police. Do you think all police would have done that? Anyway, he wrote, sharing a news link about the jailing of officers Nathan Black and Timothy Trouch. They've been jailed for 3 years for this assault on this woman. They were convicted over a sadistic 2023 attack in Emu Plains, where they pepper sprayed a naked woman's genitals, kicked her in the head, and dragged her across the road. So just a warning about this is the video. What? I mean, were they actually on duty at the time as well? I don't know. So that obviously is, not acceptable, is it? It's not acceptable what they're doing. And you could see that anybody, not only a citizen, what do they call it, state citizen or whatever, like Desi, would be angry. That makes me angry. It makes anyone angry. you know, and obviously the woman was probably difficult to get under control, but it's no excuse for pepper spraying her genitals, kicking her in the head and dragging her across the road. You know, if two grown men like that can't deal with one woman, and there's another policeman there with he's sanctioning it, really. He's not telling them to stop. I mean, it's disgusting behaviour. I agree with that. It's completely out of order. You know, completely out of order. Hi, Maria. Yeah, I think I'm going to say goodbye to Gorbachev because you can't be respectful. So I'm sorry, you're going. You know, life's too short to deal with fools. You know, if you can't be respectful, the best thing to do is just piss off, really. So. Oh, dear me. Exactly, insulting, but yeah, I've blocked him now. Insulting people just doesn't win anyone over, does it, for your argument? And that, to me, you know, that Gorbachev one, Gobby Gorbachev, Gobby Gorby, you're getting on Heather's Nadgers for a start, and we don't allow that. But you know what? It's like you're so insulting. You actually take away sympathy from people like Desi, because if you're supporting Desi and you're such a, you know, a disrespectful, horrible person, to me, then I just think, oh, all Desi's supporters are fools like that, you know, aggressive, nasty. That doesn't make me want to sympathise with Desi more. That makes me hate him more. You know, I'd never sympathise with him anyway for shooting two policemen. That, you know, for murdering two people, you know, if he wants to, he should have let himself be arrested and spoke up. You know, not look what he did in front of his family. You know, so I didn't have that much sympathy for him anyway. But people like you, comments that I get on this case, on Desi's case, it's rare that they're respectful comments or just people politely putting their point. They're like you. Yeah, they're aggressive, and they make me think, oh yeah, these supporters of sovereign citizens, they're all idiots. And as Heather said, you're probably a Trump supporter. Trump supporters are like that. They don't believe in any dissension. If you don't think Donald Trump is like the sun shines out of his arse, then they can't be respectful to you. You know, they don't believe in debate. They don't believe in, you know, anybody. They believe in free thinking as long as it's thinking their way. And instead of trying to persuade people in a reasoned, educated manner to think their way, they're nasty like you. So, you know, you're gone. You're gone. You're gone. This life's too short to deal with fools, isn't it? So let's have another look at this. So, yeah, anyone could watch that video and think, Desi, no wonder he was angry. That's a horrible thing that happened that the police did. Two young men couldn't control that woman without kicking her and spraying her. Anyway, so the judge agreed, and Judge Graham Turnbull condemned their behaviour as gratuitous cruelty and told the court, I struggle with what the possible reason was beyond the intention to inflict gratuitous pain. And 18 days after Mr. Freeman's post, two officers, Detective Leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim DeWart, were dead, allegedly shot by Mr. Freeman when police come to his Porapunka property to serve a warrant. You know, the police, they're people, they have families themselves. You know, they don't deserve to be murdered. I'm sorry, I don't agree. I'll never agree with that. That the answer is to murder the police. It's not true. And I don't think that Desi killed those police officers because of, you know, worrying about anybody else. He's worrying about himself in the search warrant against his sexual assault, historic sexual assault. Nobody seems to talk about that. That's what they were there for. They weren't there to arrest him for not abiding, you know, for free speech. They were there to arrest him for a serious case of sexual assault. on a minor. Let's remember that. Desi has used free speech for ages. He's been filmed using his free speech. He's quoted laws that everybody's claimed his disability benefits. He's taken everything the state has to offer him. And I think just the fact that if you can actually go on TV and say what you think, then, you have got freedom of speech. But you haven't got freedom to assault a minor. No, you haven't got freedom to do that, and you shouldn't have. So a third officer was wounded. Of course, he's still in hospital, I think, and Mr. Freeman vanished into the alpine bushland. And so his hidden Facebook profile, Buffalo Easy, was originally created to share photos of nature, family and friends. But in August, it became a mouthpiece for his deep mistrust of police and the justice system. Australia's justice system is littered with corruption. It's a scam. Well, probably some of it is. That doesn't mean to say all of it is. He wrote on August the 12th, and days before the shootings, he shared a YouTube video titled, "Do Australians Have Rights?" with the grim note, "We are not free." Well, he was free to share that video, wasn't he? This is what I don't understand. People are sharing a video saying we're not free, but they're free to share that video. I wonder if I can find that video. Let's see if I can find it. Be interesting to look at. Yeah, let's see. Right. Now, I can't see that, but he seems to have been on Current Affair in 2018. Let's have a look at that instead.
And welcome to A Current Affair, our history with Australia's most wanted. Coming up, the day our reporter came face to face with Desi Freeman, the man accused of killing 2 police officers in rural Victoria. But first, they were murdered in cold blood. Victoria's Police Chief Commissioner speaking about the 59-year-old detective and 35-year-old senior constable who lost their lives today in rural Victoria. A third detective is undergoing surgery. He's going to be okay.
The suspect for this horrific event is still at large. We believe he is armed. We have deployed every specialist resource into this area to locate him. It is our priority. Our priority is to arrest him, to ensure that he's held to account for the actions, but also very much to bring safety and security to this community.
Well, almost 9 hours into the search for Desi Freeman, and as we just heard, every possible resource is being thrown at hunting him down. So how has the alleged gunman, who's believed to have his wife and children with him, stayed hidden so far? Locals have their theories. Brendan Crew is in Papunka tonight. Brendan, what are you hearing?
Well, Ali, we're hearing that he may have been expecting this. We've spoken to some locals here who've known him for years and say he's lived in the area for years and knows it like the back of his hand. He knows how to survive in the bush and he knows what to do out there. We're hearing he may even have a bunker or a safe space set up because he's expecting the law enforcement to come after him at some point. That's how deep his mind goes with his conspiracy theories.
So, Brendan, I know you spoke to Freeman's neighbour this afternoon who says he's been spiralling these past few years.
Yeah, we spoke with a man who lived next to him for a few years and witnessed his mental state really go downhill. We know he's a sovereign citizen, which means that he has no respect for the law and thinks he's above the law. And we know he's been in trouble with the law, trying to get around it as well. He's been arrested many times. Police know him in these parts.
And look, we just heard from police. This is the first time we've heard from them in the past hour. And to listen to them, Brendan, they are broken, because I think this is always in the back of their minds when they go to work each day. But the police commissioner was explaining that 10 officers were executing that search warrant. There was a risk assessment done because Freeman was known to them. But it just goes to show that this is a dangerous job.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've spoken to some police officers here, and you can see they're broken. You can see they're hurting, but you sort of have to park that and put it to one side because they've got a job to do as well. They have to protect this town of 1,000 people, which is usually thriving. Everyone knows everyone, but at the moment it's a ghost town and everyone's living in a bit of fear. We've spoken to some people here who are terrified. They're locking up their houses tonight knowing that there's an active gunman out there.
Devastating.
Yeah.
For a small community like this, it's devastating. And we've lost 2 innocent coppers.
Heart goes out to the police officers' families.
It's terrible. Everyone would know each other out here.
You know, this is the community. These are the people that count, not the idiots, the trolley dollies on the internet. These people live in this community. They're supporting the police officers. You know, because police officers should not be shot in the line of duty. It's wrong. What Desi did is wrong, whether you agree with him about his views, this, that, or the other. He's a murderer. He's a murderer. Simple as that. Whatever anyone wants to say. And, you know, you lot, you strange people making your comments, make the comments you want. You're just helping my algorithm, but you'll never change my mind. And you won't change the minds of my regular chatters. Don't forget, this is my YouTube channel. This is a community that we've built, and we'll, you know, we don't care what you think. You are, you know, in the universe, you're the tiny speck that doesn't matter, because you're just on there saying nothing positive, everything negative. You're anti everything. You're not for anything. And you just go around YouTube channels probably just complaining about what people say. You know, do your own YouTube channel. You start a YouTube channel. You know, do something constructive with your life. You know, you probably don't even work. I mean, what job do you do? What's your job? You know, what's your actual employment? Do you have any, or are you a sovereign, sovereign citizen claiming benefits? You know, probably. It's just ridiculous. So the community from where Desi comes from, and even Desi's own family, support the police. They don't support him.
So, yeah, it's awful.
It's a pretty rough country out there, isn't it?
Up in here it is, yes. Very rough.
You'd have to know what you're doing.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, he's been living up there for a long time.
Yeah.
He'd know.
Yeah.
Know where to hide.
Yeah, Brenton, it is looking like a long night ahead. You can only imagine how those locals are feeling, the fact that you've effectively got a town in lockdown. Let's hope that they find him before anyone else is hurt. Thanks for that. Well, a current affair has history with Desi Freeman, the man police are still searching for tonight. But he wasn't the villain in our story 7 years ago. He claimed he was the victim, at war with his neighbours. Reporter Marty King met him.
It is full-out war, and they are the instigators of it.
Who is Desi Freeman, the man accused of shooting 3 police officers today? I spent an entire day with him and his family back in 2018. Desi and his wife Marley claimed they were being harassed and intimidated by neighbours. The family told me this was their little piece of heaven.
Perfect paradise, and it's so peaceful.
But they claimed it was paradise lost because of behaviour like this.
These dirt bike ferals move here, and they think it's the Wild West.
That day, Desi Freeman seemed genuine. He seemed
these dirt bike ferals move here and they think it's the Wild West. Oh my God, did you ring the police? You know, this is it, exactly. When it's somebody doing something against what he thinks is okay to do, they're dirtbag ferals. You know, where's the laws? Where's the police? Come and sort this out. You know, the hypocrisy. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable hypocrisy. Now, I do think there's mental health issues with Dezi as well. Apparently his mental health deteriorated, so I will appreciate that, but it still doesn't justify that he murdered 2 policemen. Oh, dirtbag ferals.
Genuinely upset, a man protecting and defending his family. Well, that was the appearance. But I do recall that day, he seemed very obsessive, the sort of man who would talk at you and not to you.
All we wanted is peace. That's all we wanted, peace.
Marley was a music teacher. Locals said she was renowned for her talent and peaceful.
His poor wife. All we want is peace. Well, you know, it was Desi who brought anarchy into their household, not the dirtbag ferals.
Nature.
What did you think could happen or might happen?
Oh, anything could happen. It's the fear of the unknown.
That was your fear.
Yes, that was my fear.
After spending that Saturday with Desi, his wife and 2 young sons, I left with 3 thoughts on my mind. He said, they said, and what really happened. We spoke to the neighbours back in 2018, but they didn't want to tell their side of the story.
Can you ask your wife to let you talk?
Since then, Desi Freeman has had run-ins with police.
What's your name? Desi Freeman.
We now know that Freeman identifies as a sovereign citizen.
I arrest you for acting oppressively and when interested and perverting the course of justice.
This was Freeman in a Victorian country court in 2021.
Take note that the magistrate is under arrest for serious crimes committed against me.
We also know that 10 police went to Freeman's property this morning to execute warrants. After 7 years, who knew it would end like this?
It is full-out war, and they are the instigators of it.
You can spend a day with a man, but who really knows the person within?
Well, Peter Moroney is a retired detective who served in the New South Wales Police Force for almost 20 years. Really appreciate you coming in tonight, Peter. We are all feeling this, but every single person who puts on that uniform is really hurting right now.
Yeah, look, they will be, and it doesn't matter if we're talking police in particular. I think you'll talk law enforcement, first responders across the board. Look, as you said in your introduction, it's a job they'll sign up to knowing there's that risk, but they'll still go forward and do that anyway. But the real reason they'll do it is to help. They want to help the victims. They want to help those people that can't help themselves. And you can ask any officer in uniform or a detective and they'll give you the same answer.
Yeah, I mean, you've been here, you've lost friends, colleagues in the force. It's a day you don't really get over, isn't it?
No, look, it's not. You know, unfortunately, I've had 3 friends being killed in the spate of just on the 18 years that I was a member of the New South Wales Police. It may sound a bit silly that you'll hear of a police officer dying and perhaps interstate, and it does resonate. But when it is someone that you know, it brings it home a lot closer to give you that realisation that your job is dangerous or can be dangerous at times. But again, we'll certainly do it from the point that you'll do it because you want to help.
And I just think of those officers who are on the ground, they're working very, very hard tonight. It's almost like they have to put that grief to the side, don't they? Because there is still a job to do. This person is out there, this person is armed, there is a community at risk.
No, that's what we have to remember as well. He is still out there. He's got $1 million reward on his head, but he is still out there. You know, is he even still alive? Like, they said that they thought somebody might be helping him. I don't think anyone's helping him. Who's going to be helping him? Who's going to be helping someone when he's murdered 2 police officers? You know, I doubt very much anyone's going to be helping him. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. But where can he have gone? You know, he's armed and dangerous. They say he can live for a long time in the bush, and maybe he can. I don't know. People do. We just saw that case, didn't we, in New Zealand of that other twonk that took his 3 children off on the run for 4 years in the New Zealand bush, you know, involving them in crime, etc. You know, these men, these people, you know, sometimes it's men, sometimes it's women. It's more often men, these sort of things. They don't care about their families, their children, or anything like that. They only care about themselves and their views. They don't care about your views. They don't care about anybody else's views. His views are all that count. And, if he cared about his family, he wouldn't have had the police breaking into his house. He would have given himself up, gone and faced whatever charges there were and proved himself innocent if he is innocent. Personally, I don't see that he is, because if you're innocent, you don't do that.
They've just got to get on with it.
Yeah, it sounds very fundamental, doesn't it? But yes, you're right. They do have to simply get on with it. And depending on what we talk about here, we're going to have multiple police from multiple disciplines being at that scene. You'll have crime scene investigators. You'll have the tactical teams that are there, the dog units that are there. They will, I have no doubt, know or have a degree of knowledge around the people that have been unfortunately killed. That will make it harder. But they are professional. I have no doubt Victorian police are some of the most professional that there are in the world, and I have no doubt they will bring this job to a resolution.
I think most of us hearing this today, our first thoughts were the eerie similarities between this and Wieambilla, that shooting 3 years ago where 2 young constables were shot and killed by so-called sovereign citizens. So many similarities.
Look, there is, and we certainly don't want to speculate. We'll leave that, because I have no doubt a coroner will look into these matters, and those similarities will be drawn. The sovereign citizens are a unique risk unto themselves, and not only to law enforcement. We train a number of regulators around the country, and they will tell you of ample problems that they have and encounter. And that will certainly be a key part of the coronial inquiry that will come.
Yeah, and I guess here we are speaking a little bit more broadly. Yep. But when you look at these radicals, and a lot we saw came about during those pandemic years when people were shut up, but they were closed up, I should say, but like they follow these conspiracy theories. They believe the government is illegitimate. They hate police. That is scary stuff.
Yeah, look, it is. And the phenomenon of being a sovereign citizen is certainly coming to the forefront. You see ample YouTube videos that get placed on at all times. And for your viewers, simply a sovereign citizen is someone who does not recognise the law of the country that they're in, and they basically want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
When you have someone who has no regard for the laws of the country and who will operate under their steam, that creates a significant risk not only to law enforcement, anyone who is a government-based representative, nurses, doctors, regulatory officers that are around the country, but they will create a risk to the public in due course. That's without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is no other job where you get out of bed each day knowing that your life is possibly at risk.
Look, you're spot on, Ali, but, and as I say, you could talk to any current former serving law enforcement officer. They understand that risk. They'll accept that risk, but it's there because they want to do a greater good and help those that can't help themselves.
Absolutely. Really appreciate your
My
time,
pleasure.
Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you. And can I say right now that our thoughts are with those officers' loved ones and the entire police force. You go.
Exactly. My thoughts are with Desi's family as well. And even Desi, I don't want anything to happen to Desi. I hope they catch him, they don't kill him. I think he may well have, done something to himself by now. But if he hasn't, I hope they don't shoot him, But when you go, it's just like, imagine being a sovereign citizen. Right, so I'm going to walk into your house tomorrow and say, oh, by the way, I like that telly, I'm taking it. And they go, you can't do that. That's theft. I say, well, I'm a sovereign citizen. Nobody tells me what to do. Nobody tells me I can't take your television. I don't abide by the rules of this country. It's so ludicrous. It is literally ridiculous. You cannot not abide. Rules are there for a reason. Laws are there for a reason. But we should always be vigilant of the police. We should not, just accept everything they do. I'm not saying that. And what I'm saying is you need rules, you need laws, you need the police, whether you like it or not, you do. Right, we're going to listen to something else. We're going to have a look at this first. So these are more of these screenshots, the video screenshots, which reveal the moments before 2 police officers were allegedly killed. Oh, no, remember, it is allegedly. So this is some of the, I think these have come from Desi's son, but there will be body cam, of course, but the police aren't going to release that. And notice, they won't release anything until the trial. Then maybe we'll see the body cam, etc. Obviously not the actual murders. But, so these screenshots are taken from a video which apparently goes on for more than 20 minutes and shows officers, including Mr. Thompson, try to reason with Freeman. But he refuses to open the bus door as officers explain they have a warrant. Leave us alone, he shouts in the video. And anyway, they can't leave him alone when they've got a search warrant. Oh gosh, honestly, it's like it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Oh, leave us alone. Oh, all right, then we'll leave you alone. We'll leave you alone because you're a sovereign citizen, and we've got this search warrant. We'll just forget it. It's the most ridiculous thing. Anyway, on this this Ben Fordham, which I don't know who he is, but he's released this audio of what Dezi had to say. So let's have a listen to this. I mean, I think it's him speaking. It's not Dezi. Let's see.
Of terrorising him. He claims, "You've been targeting me for 7 years."
Let's go back.
An officer then slowly opened. This will send chills up your spine. For the very first time, the intense standoff between police and the cop killer Desi Freeman has been revealed. Daily Mail Australia has viewed 27 minutes of body cam footage leading up to the ruthless murder of those two police officers. The video was taken on August 26 when 10 officers arrived at Freeman's property to execute a search warrant. Desi Freeman and his family were on a bus near the house. The 56-year-old refuses to open the door to the vehicle. One officer can be heard saying, "We've got a search warrant right here. Come out and talk to us, Des. We're not going away." You can hear Desi's partner, Mally Freeman. She says to officers, "Can you please not barge in? I have a kid." Then Desi Freeman is heard for the first time. He instructs the officers to leave them alone and demands to see the search warrant. An officer can be heard saying, "We're just trying to do our job, Des. Come out and talk to us and we won't have to break in." And things then escalate from there. Freeman screams at the officers, calling them psychopaths and accusing them of terrorising him. He claims, "You've been targeting me for 7 years." An officer then slowly opens the door to the bus. Freeman can be heard saying, "Tell your goons to stop breaking the door. This is domestic terrorism." A back and forth between Desi Freeman and the officers continues. He can be heard yelling, "What are you doing? Did you join the police force to be Nazi effing thugs? You're just going to kill me." Desi.
It's not domestic terrorism when you've got search warrants and you're going to execute the search warrants because you've been accused of SA. Anybody who's supporting him, would you like him around your children if this is a possibility? If he's got nothing to hide, he opens the doors and lets the police in. They've got a search warrant. It's not domestic terrorism. That's the law. For crikey. It's like, anyway, I'm not going to repeat that again. That's how I think about it. That's my view. I'm entitled to my view as you're entitled to your view. But, they had a search warrant. They were there legitimately. And he murdered them.
Freeman then spirals even further. One of the officers fatally shot, Detective leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson, then manages to force open a window of the bus. He hauls himself feet first inside, and within seconds, gunshots ring out. 2 police officers are shot dead. Officers can be seen scrambling, and then the video ends. It's been more than 2 weeks since that footage was captured. Desi Freeman has still not been located by police. About 450 police officers are continuing to search for him.
If you've got a news tip, email ben@2gb.com.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Why was Desi so defensive? Yeah, because he's a sovereign citizen. So he's a sovereign citizen. If he wants to essay a child, nobody can stop him. He doesn't abide by the laws of the country. Oh, yeah, I'll pick up my benefits. So, yes, I'll have my benefits, but I don't have to abide by the laws of this country. I just have to pick up my benefits. Quote laws. I mean, and the ironic thing is, often he's been seen and he's quoting the laws of the country. Just, you couldn't make it up. It's like, yeah, I don't believe in the laws of this country, except when I want to do something, I'll do whatever the hell I want. I'm a sovereign citizen. And then this is my right under article such and such of such and such. Oh, gosh, crazy. Anyway, as I say, I feel for his family. I feel for the family of the murdered police officers. And I do hope that Dezi is caught without being injured. Don't want him to be shot or anything happen to him. But, it sounds like even if he is still alive, he's not going to let the police just take him, is he? So they're not going to let him kill any more of them either. That's not rocket science, is it? That's pretty much, sensible, isn't it? Someone's coming at you who's armed and dangerous and they've already shot 2 policemen. You're not going to wait and see if they shoot you first, are you? It's just funny, people sort of defending him, but I wonder how they'd feel if he was, doing it to them, not agreeing with them. Going to their house, taking things, doing something to their children. Because he's a sovereign citizen, he can do what the hell he likes. Doesn't have to abide by any laws. So we don't need laws. We don't need laws, do we? According to some people. Well, there you go. That's the opinion of this channel. I think the majority of people in the chat, people can disagree with it, that's fine. But, it'll never change on this channel. So I'm just telling you that right now. So thank you for improving my algorithm. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So the more comments you make, the better. That's why you've not been blocked, because the more comments you make, the better, be it for my algorithm. But this channel will never support lawlessness like that. But we will be here to criticise police when they do things wrong. We will be here to do that. But we will not be here to just say, oh, you don't need the police and things like that. It's total ridiculous. Sorry, it is. Don't need the police. Of course you do need the police. But you have to monitor them. You have to make sure they don't get away with things like those 2 horrible police officers that beat up that woman. That's not acceptable either. You don't have to be one of these free citizens or whatever to not support the police when they do things badly. It doesn't mean say you go along with everything the police do, just soak it all up. Of course you don't. It's just sort of, at the end of the day, the police are an agency of the state, but the state is there to protect people as well, but the state also has to be monitored. That's what if you don't agree with things, you have to set about trying to change them, not murder people, because that won't get you any sympathy. And it's, if you, what's the word that I'm trying to say? If you can't see that, there really is something wrong with you. Or you're just trying to, I think there's a couple of people out there, certainly one, just trying to wind this channel up. And that's the other thing that these people do. So it's just like trying to derail live streams. That's why it's best to ignore them. Because I'm telling you something, in my very long life, things I've dealt with in my life, some pathetic little troll in the chat trying to deliberately wind everybody up. Mate, you have no idea how insignificant you are in my life. Really don't. So the only significance you have in my life is you're improving my algorithm. Thank you. The more you comment, the better, you know, the more attention I get on my channel. Thank you so much. You know, so I just, you know, you just have to wonder, is that what you do every day? Do you sit around looking for channels to sort of irritate or troll or whatever? Because, you know, you've got a pretty pathetic life probably, haven't you? Otherwise, I think. Because, you know, to me, if I was watching a channel, I didn't agree with what they're saying, YouTube's not the place to change people's opinions. Do you know what I mean? YouTube's more of an echo chamber, isn't it? You know, if you want to change the world, do that through Parliament and those kind of things. YouTube, this is YouTube. This is Vicky Marie Chats. It's just a channel where I chat about shit. It's not anything. I'm not trying to change the world. Just trying to bring attention to things that I think are interesting going on in the world. You know, this is not a place to change the world. Go and do something constructive. Start your own YouTube channel and get people, like-minded people, to follow you. But that's probably too much effort, isn't it? Because it's too much effort to actually do anything constructive. It's easier, isn't it, to just go and troll other people's channels because you've got nothing better to do in your life. You know, you've got no, it's so sad. It really is sad. I feel sorry for you. I'll tell you what, anybody out there who's doing that, I'm praying for you. And I mean that. I pray, when I pray in the morning, pray for a lot of things. I pray for my chats, pray for my family. I pray for victims of cases that I've covered. I pray for their families. I always like to say a prayer for the trolls, because I think sometimes the trolls need the prayers more than anything. You know, you think, who hurt you? Who made you this way? You know, how did you become so awful? And, you know, if I'm watching a YouTube channel and I don't agree with what they're saying, I just swipe down, go to the next one. Don't, you know, I don't have to leave a message and say anything to them because that's their YouTube channel. That's what they're doing. Lots of people agree with them. They've got their followers. You know, it's ironic, really, isn't it? Oh, dear me. It's almost like a comedy skit, isn't it? It's like a comedy skit. I know. Oh, dear. Okay, so thank you to everyone, even the trolls out there. Thank you so much for watching. Now, as I say, I hope Desi's caught. I hope he's caught, but I hope he's not shot. But I don't hold out much hope for that. I actually think he may already be deceased. But time will tell. And of course, we've got the other manhunt over in America, Travis Decker. Will he ever be found? You know, these people, they're twonks. You know, they're twonks. They don't deserve our sympathy. People that deserve our sympathy are the victims. And also, as I say, Desi's family. But, you know, next time, if you want to be a sovereign citizen, you should, you know, protest for it. Protest for it. Be a sovereign citizen. See what happens the first time you need the police. And see if you get your other, so, you know, one of your other sovereign citizens, one of your sovereign citizen mates will probably say, oh, well, I do what I want. Yeah, I'm going to come round to your house and do whatever I like because I'm a sovereign citizen. Oh, dear. It's anyway, thank goodness for our lovely community. Now, these kind of people, they won't be here when we're talking about other things. They won't be here when we're talking about other victims who just want to talk about sovereign citizens and all this crap. They don't want to go, you know, when I'm talking about somebody, you know, who's been a woman who's been attacked and murdered or whatever, they don't want to know about that. They just want to, you know, be on these contentious subjects. They don't want to be in the sort of, you know, I talk about so many different things, don't I? And our community talks about so many different things. These people won't turn up on those sort of videos. They're not interested in that. They're not interested in justice for real people. They're just interested in justice for sovereign citizens like Desi. Probably his mates. Maybe it's even Desi. Who knows? Okay, I'm off. So thank you for watching. What day are we on? So today is Wednesday. Well, I'll probably be back tonight with a video. I've got a couple of cases. You know, there's just not enough time in the day to talk about all the things that there are to talk about. But I've got 2 other cases that are going on that I want to talk about, or 2 other things that I've just not had time to talk about yet. Maybe on later tonight talking about one of them. I've also got a video sort of ongoing that I need to finish off about a case in the UK of one of the series that I do of Love to Death, you know, of women who commit this terrible crime of actually finishing with their partner. And their partner's not having that, you know, so I've got a video in process at the moment, one of those stories from the UK. Yeah. That's it. So listen, look after you, because you are the most important person. Always remember to look after your mental health, especially physical health, of course, as well. Mental health, physical health. But look after you primarily, because you have to look after probably other people. And if you're not okay, they won't be okay either, because they need you. So thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe. These are the free things that you can do to support this channel. Let me put up my like and subscribe little blurb thing. Yeah, don't forget, like, subscribe and share. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God, as always, go with you. Thank you.